You've probably heard this 100 times. If you want to create your dream life, it's going to take endless hard work, long nights, constant hustle, and an almost superhuman level of discipline. The message is always the same. Grind harder, push more, never stop. We're also told manifestation has to be some complicated ritual, that you need to spend hours visualizing every detail, repeating carefully scripted affirmations, forcing yourself to stay positive, and performing elaborate practices just to keep your energy high enough. But what if none of that is actually true? What if manifestation doesn't require an exhausting checklist of rituals? What if the real key is much simpler? So simple, in fact, that most people completely overlook it. Here's the truth. You're already living inside a quantum field filled with infinite potential. Every possible version of your life already exists in that field. And here's the kicker. It doesn't respond to how hard you struggle, how many affirmations you chant, or how desperately you try to force things to happen. What it responds to is your inner state, your harmony, your coherence. This is where most people run into trouble. They treat manifestation like a fight against their current reality. They push with sheer willpower. They repeat affirmations they don't actually believe. They visualize a future they secretly doubt is possible. They put on a mask of positivity, even while swimming in anxiety and overwhelm underneath. And that's exactly when everything goes sideways. In the quantum field, forcing only creates resistance. Think of it like swimming against a powerful current. You thrash, you push, you tire yourself out, but you don't move forward. Manifestation doesn't work through struggle. Instead, it works when you shift into the version of yourself that already has what you want. Not by rearranging your outer world first, but by tuning your inner world so the reality you desire naturally lines up with you. Picture the quantum field as a vast, limitless ocean. Floating within it are all potential realities: success and failure, wealth and poverty, connection and isolation, health and illness. Everything exists simultaneously, waiting to be chosen. But here's the crucial part. None of those possibilities become real until they're observed. And guess who the observer is? You. Your awareness, your focus, and your emotional state are the forces that collapse those possibilities into the reality you experience. The problem is, most people are unconsciously observing their lives through fear. They fixate on what they don't have. They radiate the energy of lack while asking for abundance. In quantum terms, this creates interference instead of clarity. So, while they're asking for prosperity, what they're actually broadcasting is scarcity. And the field, being precise, responds to that. You've been conditioned to believe you have to chase what you want. Work harder. Force it. Hustle until you drop. But real manifestation doesn't come from chasing. It comes from becoming. The truth is, you're already connected to the version of reality you desire. The quantum field isn't waiting for you to grind yourself into the ground. It's waiting for you to match the right frequency. And here's the paradox. The moment you stop clinging, stop controlling, stop grasping, the easier it all flows in. Think about those times when something incredible just landed in your lap. Maybe you met someone amazing when you weren't even looking, or an opportunity appeared out of nowhere and changed everything. Notice how in those moments you weren't forcing anything. You were relaxed, open, receptive. That's what true manifestation feels like. Here's what most people miss. The quantum field doesn't respond to the words you say. It responds to the frequency you broadcast. You can repeat, "I am wealthy," all day long. But if your body is still filled with fear, if your heart is tight with anxiety, if your nervous system is wired for struggle, the field doesn't hear abundance. It hears scarcity, not because the universe is cruel, but because it's precise. That's why manifestation isn't about repeating mantras. It's about embodying the energy. You don't just say you're abundant. You feel it, you live it, you broadcast it. This brings us to something almost no one talks about. There are actually 3 layers to the signal you're sending out. Unless all 3 are aligned, resistance will keep showing up. Layer 1 is your conscious thoughts. These are the affirmations, the visualizations, the things you're actively focusing on. Most manifestation teachings stop here. Layer 2 is your emotions, what you're really feeling underneath those thoughts. You can't just think wealth if you still feel lack. Layer 3 is your cellular memory. These are the deep, subconscious imprints stored in your body from past experiences, traumas, fears, limiting beliefs that your body still holds on to, even if you don't consciously remember them. And here's the thing. The quantum field is reading all 3 layers at once. When they don't match, the field responds to the strongest one, which, for most people, is the old cellular memory of fear or scarcity. That's why someone can think abundant thoughts all day long and still feel broke. If their body is still carrying the imprint of survival mode, that's the frequency being broadcast. The breakthrough happens when you bring all 3 layers into alignment: your thoughts, your emotions, and your cellular memory. When they line up, your entire system sends out one unified, coherent signal. I call this quantum coherence training. It's the practice of syncing your inner world into one powerful broadcast the field can't ignore. And here's the big question most people have at this point. What exactly influences the field the most? Your thoughts, your emotions, your actions? The truth is, it's not just one piece. The field doesn't listen to fragments. It listens to the entire system. That's why affirmations without emotional alignment don't work. Visualization without subconscious rewiring doesn't stick, and action without coherence just leads to burnout. The field is reading all of you, all the time. Alignment isn't just mental, it's full body. It's not about chanting affirmations while ignoring the fear stuck in your chest. It's not about imagining wealth while your nervous system is locked in survival mode. It's about shifting your whole system into coherence. And when that happens, the field responds instantly. Think of it like tuning a radio. If you're slightly off frequency, all you get is static. But when you dial into the exact station, the music comes through crystal clear. Your life works the same way. When your thoughts, emotions, and body are aligned, your signal is clear, and the reality you want tunes right in. Now, let's go a little deeper into the science, because this is where it gets fascinating. At the quantum scale, particles don't exist as fixed objects. They exist as potential, as what scientists call a wave function. This means they're probabilities, not certainties. But here's the catch. The moment an observer steps in, the wave collapses into a single outcome. That's called wave-particle duality. In other words, nothing becomes real until it's observed. And in your life, the observer isn't just your conscious mind, it's also your subconscious. Even if you consciously say you want abundance, if your unconscious is still programmed for struggle, that's the observation the field listens to. That's why so many people feel stuck. They've done the affirmations, the vision boards, the visualizations, but their subconscious programming keeps casting the final vote. Neuroscience backs this up. Research on predictive processing shows that your brain is always anticipating what comes next, based on your past. Those predictions shape what you see, what you feel, even what opportunities you notice. So if your unconscious is wired with patterns of rejection, lack, or struggle, your brain literally expects more of that. And when you expect it, you unconsciously create it. This is why you can't just change your thoughts on the surface. You have to update the predictive models running underneath. You have to retrain your nervous system to expect safety, abundance, and ease. And that doesn't happen through thinking alone. It happens through feeling, through embodied experiences that create new neural pathways and reprogram your cellular memory. Now, here's where things get even more exciting. Researchers like Joe Dispenza and Bruce Lipton have shown something incredible. Your heart actually generates a much stronger electromagnetic field than your brain. In fact, your heart's field extends several feet outside your body, constantly interacting with the quantum field around you. So, when your heart and your brain are aligned, when your thoughts and your emotions are in sync, your signal becomes unbelievably powerful. It's clean, it's magnetic, it's coherent. But when your mind says one thing while your heart feels another, that's when your signal becomes scattered, mixed, inconsistent. This is why manifesting with just your thoughts rarely works. Without the emotional component, the signal isn't clear. Your emotions are the amplifier. They give your broadcast strength. You can't just think your way into a new reality. You have to feel your way into it. So let's bring this back to something very practical. Before you try to manifest anything external, money, love, health, you need to focus on your nervous system. If your body doesn't feel safe, it doesn't matter how many hours you spend visualizing or how many affirmations you recite. Your signal will be scattered. Your nervous system is the foundation. That means learning how to regulate yourself, healing old wounds, creating a baseline of safety and calm inside. For some people, this looks like breath work. For others, gentle movement, meditation, mindfulness, or somatic healing practices. Sometimes it's as simple as giving yourself compassion and slowing down enough to feel safe in your own body. Whatever tools you use, the goal is the same: shifting out of fight or flight and into balance. Because from that balanced state, manifestation finally becomes natural. Here's the thing most people underestimate. About 95% of your daily experience is run by your unconscious mind. That's the system controlling your habits, your emotions, your beliefs, and your automatic reactions. You might consciously want abundance, but if your unconscious is still running programs like, "I'm not worthy," or "life is always a struggle," those old scripts win. The field responds to those beliefs, not the shiny affirmations. This is why repeating mantras without embodiment doesn't stick, why visualizations without nervous system healing fall flat, why hustling and grinding without inner alignment only leads to burnout. The quantum field doesn't mirror just your conscious desires. It mirrors your whole system. So, what's the actual solution? It's realizing that manifestation isn't about adding more rituals or forcing more effort. It's about recalibrating your entire system, returning to your natural state, the version of you that already exists in the reality you want. Let's break this down with a few practical examples. If money is your focus, don't wait until it shows up in your bank account to feel abundant. Start practicing the feeling of abundance now. Treat yourself with more presence, kindness, and generosity. Radiate abundance in the small things, how you share your time, how you give your attention, how you treat yourself and others. Instead of micromanaging outcomes, embody trust. Prosperity flows more easily when your system already feels safe and full. If love is what you're calling in, you can't sit back with a closed heart, waiting for the perfect person to appear. You need to practice love now. Open your heart. Live as though you're already whole and complete. Allow yourself to feel softness and connection in small, everyday ways. That's the frequency that attracts a partner who's aligned with you. And if health is your desire, the shift happens when you stop treating your body like an enemy to be fixed. Move out of survival mode and into thriving. Instead of constantly scanning for what's wrong, begin appreciating what's already working. Care for your body from a place of love, not punishment. When you treat your body like a trusted ally, it naturally begins to align with vitality. Now, here's a paradox most people struggle with. The moment you stop desperately needing something, it tends to arrive faster. Not because the universe is testing you, but because you're no longer blocking the flow. When you let go of the tight grip, the field is finally free to deliver. But this doesn't mean becoming passive or doing nothing. It's not about sitting on the couch waiting for miracles. It's about shifting from control into collaboration. Instead of forcing the universe, you're co-creating with it. You're harmonizing with your own energy. One of the most misunderstood ideas about manifestation is that you're supposed to be positive all the time. That's not it. Manifestation isn't about faking positivity. It's about authenticity. It's about honoring what you're really feeling, instead of pretending it isn't there, then gently guiding yourself back into alignment when you drift off course. Because you will feel fear, you will feel doubt, frustration, impatience. That's part of being human. Those emotions are not the enemy. The real danger is suppressing them or letting them take over. This is where emotional intelligence becomes a superpower. When you can name your emotions, when you can say, I feel anxious about the future, or I feel disappointed about the past, you take back control. You give yourself the chance to shift instead of spiraling unconsciously. Manifestation isn't about perfection. It's not about never slipping up or never getting off track. It's about noticing quickly when you've drifted and gently guiding yourself back. The faster you can return to coherence, the faster your reality lines up. And the key here is consistency. You don't need to be flawless. You just need to be steady. When your thoughts, emotions, and actions line up consistently, they generate a magnetic pull that bends your reality toward you. Here's something most people don't realize. You've already been manifesting your entire life. Every relationship, every opportunity, every struggle you've faced, they've all been reflections of your inner state at the time. Which means if you want a new reality, the path is simple. Become the version of yourself who already has it. Let's make this really down to earth. If you want to embody abundance, practice generosity, whether with money, time, energy, or attention. Show your nervous system that there's plenty to go around. If you want to embody love, practice vulnerability. Let yourself take small emotional risks. Let people see the real you. Open your heart in everyday moments. And if you want to embody health, listen to your body. Move it, nourish it, and rest it. Not from guilt or punishment, but from care and respect. When you treat yourself this way, you align your system with the version of reality where health, love, and abundance already exist. This is a simple but often overlooked path. Few people choose it because it requires you to go first. You have to become the energy before the evidence shows up. You have to lead with being, not needing. But the moment you do, the quantum field responds, and that's when the real magic begins to unfold. So far, we've talked about alignment, coherence, and becoming the version of yourself who already exists in the reality you want. But let's take this one step further into a tool that makes the whole process more practical. I call it future memory. Most people approach manifestation as visualization, imagining what they want, picturing it as though it might happen someday. Future memory flips that on its head. Instead of imagining it, you remember it. You treat your desired future like it's already in the past, as though you've already lived it. Here's why that's so powerful. Your brain doesn't actually know the difference between a vividly imagined memory and a real one. If you rehearse your desired future as if it's already happened, your brain encodes it like a memory. Neuroscientists call this prospective memory, and what it does is train your brain to expect that outcome. Those expectations then guide your behavior, your decisions, and even the opportunities you notice. It's like pre-programming your nervous system to walk straight into that timeline. To make this practice really work, you need to engage all of your senses. Don't just picture what it looks like. Ask yourself, what do I hear in this reality? What do I feel in my body? What smells are around me? What flavors do I taste? The richer and more sensory you make it, the more real it feels to your nervous system. And when your nervous system feels it as real, the quantum field mirrors it as real. That's how you close the gap between where you are and where you want to be. There's another piece almost nobody talks about when it comes to manifestation: community. We are not just isolated individuals. We're deeply social, deeply energetic beings. Our nervous systems are constantly syncing with the people around us. Spend enough time around people who are stressed, fearful, or negative, and your system will start to mirror that. But when you surround yourself with people who are practicing coherence, who are embodying abundance, love, or health, your nervous system naturally starts to attune to that energy. This is why community is so important. You don't just rise alone. You rise with the people you connect to. So, curate your environment carefully. Choose who you spend time with, what media you consume, and what spaces you enter. Surround yourself with people and environments that reflect the version of yourself you're becoming, not the version you're leaving behind. The truth is, manifestation isn't a destination. It's not about getting the car, the house, the partner, or the career, and then being done. It's an unfolding, an ongoing process of becoming. Every desire you have is like an invitation. The love you want is calling you to open your heart more deeply. The career you want is pushing you to step into more confidence. The health you want is asking you to treat your body with greater care. When you see your desires this way, manifestation stops being about collecting things. It becomes about evolving into who you really are. Think about it this way. Manifestation isn't about manipulating reality to give you what you want. It's about letting reality shape you into the version of yourself who can naturally create, attract, and sustain the life you dream of. And here's the most important realization. The quantum field is not separate from you. You're not just interacting with it, you are it. You are the wave. You are the particle. You are the observer and the observed. When you shift your frequency, you're not just sending out a signal. You're literally tuning into a version of reality that already exists. That's why the real work of manifestation isn't chasing or striving or begging the universe. The real work is becoming. So let's bring this home. Manifestation at its core comes down to a few simple principles. 1. Align your thoughts, emotions, and body. Coherence is everything. 2. Regulate your nervous system. Safety first. A calm baseline makes you magnetic. 3. Practice embodiment. Don't just say the words, feel them, live them. 4. Use future memory. Remember your desired reality until it feels like your past. 5. Curate your environment. Surround yourself with people and spaces that amplify your coherence. 6. Lead with being, not needing. Embody the energy before the evidence shows up. When you do these consistently, the field responds. Not because you forced it, but because you finally tuned into the version of reality where your desires already exist. Let me leave you with something very simple. Choose one word that represents the energy you want to embody moving forward. It could be trust. It could be abundance. It could be love, freedom, creativity. Whatever resonates most with you. Once you have that word, let it become your personal declaration to the field. Write it down. Speak it out loud. Hold it in your heart. Let that single word be your anchor, your reminder, your signal. Live in harmony with that energy and watch as your reality begins to reflect it back to you. Here's something to really sit with. You've already been manifesting your whole life. Every outcome you've experienced so far has been the direct result of your inner state, which means you already know how to do this. You've been doing it unconsciously. The only difference now is that you're going to start doing it intentionally, with awareness, with coherence. So imagine your life a year from now. Picture yourself living in the reality that feels right for you, abundant, healthy, loved, fulfilled. Remember it as though it's already happened. Feel it now. Let your nervous system encode that future as real. Then, let go. Release the grip. Trust that the field is already aligning. Because the truth is, you are not separate from the quantum field. You are the field. And when you embody that truth, life begins to flow in ways that feel effortless. So, here's my invitation to you. Keep tuning in. Keep aligning. Keep playing in the quantum field. You don't need to chase. You don't need to force. You just need to become. And if this message has sparked something in you, join the community here. Share your one word in the comments. Subscribe so we can keep walking this path together. Because when we come together, our signals amplify. And together, we can create realities we once thought were impossible. Thank you for being here. Thank you for stepping into your power. And thank you for remembering who you really are.